think this important that has in very, very little time. So I feel like I was just over the place, but I've gotten used to it now. But it has been a very interesting experience.
Oh, thank you so much, Glory. Thank you, Glory. Thank you, Margaret. And we'll take the third person, the last person. So anyone wants to be the last person to round off the introduction part before we
Good
move
evening,
on to
everyone.
introduction of our judges. Good evening.
Okay, so my name is Oyindamola Agbolafemi Oyindamola. I'm a student at Babcock University, a 200 level student studying
Wow.
international law and diplomacy. I must say, this policy hackathon
Okay.
has been very, very interesting and insightful. I've worked with my teammates who have been very responsive, and it's been a very fun experience, honestly, because these issues are issues that people should be enlightened on. And for the fact that we have brought it to a policy hackathon to make people aware of these issues, I mean, it's a very big deal and it's very, very important. So I just want to thank the sponsors of this event, and I just want to thank everybody that planned this. It's a really good one. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So right into it, I will hand over to Mr. Kenny for introduction of our judges. So Mr. Kenny, please, over to you.
Thank you so very much, Dami. And technically, I'm really excited to hear about all of your comments and how you guys feel. But I think I would love to start with the way we did, I think, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I think it was yesterday. If there's one word you used to describe your experience, and we're not going to start this semi-final if I don't get at least, how many people on this call? 36, so at least 15 responses. If there's one word you're going to use to describe your experience thus far, what would it be? Maybe I will start. For me, it is expository because I tend to see how you guys are thinking. So the word for me is expository. I'm learning from, as an organization, this is the first time we are doing this with university students. And, I can see Damola say insightful, that's really cool. Even say captivating, yeah, if there's one word you use to describe it, what would it be? Waiting on you guys, whenever we get started, it depends on you. Exploratory. Okay, that's fun. That's a fun one. So you had some time to do a lot of things, a lot of research, I would assume. Brainstorming, I did a lot of stuff. That's a fact. Roller coaster. I'm so sorry. Don't worry, it's gonna be all worth it. That I can tell you. Fun, interesting. Okay, we're almost there. I can see all of you giving up the response. We're almost there. So fun, interesting. Okay, let's have two more people. Two more people tell this because I'm sharing my screen now. Who wants to tell us what it is that they found about this competition? I can see Trillion, exciting. Two new messages. Rewarding and enchanting. Great. The enchanting is it for me. Oh my God. Are you guys enchanted by the power of writing policies? That's quite interesting. Just to make a note, Dami, thanks for doing a good job. Some people might be in the waiting room, so it'd be nice if you can keep an eye on that and so that you can admit them in. But yeah, we are at the semi-final. It felt like this day would never come when we started, like, a couple of weeks back with the policy boot camp. But it's been a very interesting experience. As I said, for me, it's exploratory, and I could some people say it's been a roller coaster. This happens to be the third policy hackathon we'll be having as an organization. As we've said this over and over, but our very first one with university students, thanks to the leadership of the Political Science Student Association that makes this possible. And here we are with the semi-final session. We have 100 applicants from over 100 applicants from different parts of the countries. 18 teams competed from 8 universities. And here we are with 8 semi-finalists to select the 5 finalists that will go on to a physical competition at the grand finale at Babcock University to win, not only monetary prizes, the first position 250,000, I think second is 150, and the third is 100,000 naira. And with so many opportunities, I think it was Eben, that was explaining the opportunities we're able to provide for some of our winners last year to go to the House of Assembly and present their policies. And yeah, well, we hope to do more of that, with the winner this year and so many interesting stuffs. So thanks for joining us from all over the country. I would say, and I think I told you, Ben, this, my favorite thing about this hackathon is it is not like universities are competing against each other. We felt like making last to compete against Babcock or compete against UNN. It's okay. But I love the fact that everybody came in as a group and you found people that are interested in what you're passionate about. And I think that's really cool. So people from all walks of, from different institutions in the country, passionate about that same problem. And all of you came together to propose a solution. And it was really an interesting read within your policy memos. I would like to say for those that are here but didn't make it semi-finalists, it's not like your policy was not good. While we have some comments, we will definitely share to you guys after the competition. Everybody did great, but definitely we have to select a few persons to advance to the next stage. Yeah, we are from Babcock University, we are from Adeleke, Ajayi Crowder, Caleb, University of Lagos, Lagos State University, University of Ilorin, and UNN, forming different teams to make this competition possible. And again, thanks to Babcock for hosting it. But here we are with our 8 semi-finalists. We have Team Stabilis, Team Harvest Up, down to Team Eco Energy Keepers. And I would say that the semi-final session is happening now. And thank you all for joining. A quick rule, we have 7 minutes for presentation. So once the moderator, which is Damin, and also the president, will be the one to be able to introduce everyone, the team member, when it's time for you to present. I will also nudge you when it's 5 minutes via group chats that's on the chat box. That you have 5 minutes, just 2 minutes left to go. Then 3 minutes for Q&A. And before we start, I would like to introduce our judges. Some of them you are familiar with. We have Ebenezer Wikina, who is also the founder of Policy Shaper, and I think one of the best policy minds I've seen in the country. We have Torajini Fuja. Some of you, this will be the first time maybe interacting with Mr. Toro. Mr. is a PhD candidate at the University of Houston, working on technology, AI, also engineering, but also have so many other experience in sustainable development advocate establishments and working with them while she was at the University of Lagos. Thank you so much, Mr. for joining us on such a short time notice. And we have Shimdi. A lot of you met Shimdi during the mentor office hour, right? And he's also part of the judges. I told you that for those that attended the mentors office hour, it's like you're knowing the rubric of the competition because some of the judges were meant to be there. And Shimdi was a national security fellow and also a very good policy expert. And my humble self, I've been privileged to read your petition, your policy paper rather, and excited to also listen to your presentation. Without further ado, I will hand over to Dami, and we are excited to listen on to you. Hey Dami, you're muted if you're saying something.
All right, so sorry. Okay, so welcome back, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Kenny. We'll be going right into the presentation, and the first team that would be having your presentation is Team Stabilis. Yes, we have Alabi Emmanuel, Agbola Oyindamola, Akende Favor, Ibrahim Suleiman, and Brian. So your representatives, please unmute yourself, turn on your videos, and you have 7 minutes to make your presentation.
And you'll be able to share your screen also. So just whoever it is, just click on share and you see the ability to share your PowerPoint so we can see your presentation.
So Team Stabilis. All right, thank you.
Sorry, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. So my name is Agbola Fayemi Oyindamola. I'm from Team Stabilis. And basically, today we're going to be talking about rising above insecurity, protecting livelihood from security threats in Nigeria. So we'll be quickly going on to the table of content, which has to do with introduction, meeting the team, what drove us to writing our policy paper. So this is us, Team Stabilis. We comprise of a team of 5 individuals concerned about the current state of affairs in the country, especially on security and its interrelated affairs. We focus our topic on track 4, which is security and national stability. We have the presence of Alabi Emmanuel, who served as our lead researcher and data analyst, assisted by Ibrahim Sulaiman. I served as the lead policy writer, and Akine Inde Favor and Uwazulu Ahu Brian served as our guidance lead. Okay, so what actually drove us to the policy paper? That is a very vital question that I feel should be answered. Okay, security is one of the major drivers of our national interest. Without security, there is no Nigeria. Without security, Nigeria cannot stand alone to say we are a country, to say we are independent as a nation. And the persistent farmer header clash has increased the number of internally displaced peoples in Nigeria, which is a major concern to security and national stability. So due to this fact, we took interest in finding the root causes to this problem and the recommendations to give the Nigerian government, because we know that this is a matter of urgency and we would like for there to be protection of livelihood for Nigerians. Okay. So about our policy paper focuses on the protection of livelihood, as earlier mentioned, because the ongoing farmer header conflict has led to widespread violence. I mean, this is not news to us that everywhere we go, we hear about the clashes between farmers and the headers, because this clash is gradually moving from conflict to crisis or from clash to crisis, is a major issue of concern. And this is because of land resource competition, climate change, and poor implementation of these policies. As a team, we realize that there needs to be change, there needs to be policies implemented to ensure that the weakness of existing policies which lack strength in execution, does not hinder us from experiencing a very good livelihood in Nigeria. We have policies like the National Livestock Transformational Plan, which was established in 2019, the Open Grazing Prohibition Ranches Establishment Law. So basically, these policies, they were enforced, but they were not properly implemented. And that has been one of the greatest weaknesses that we have experienced as a nation, because if there's proper implementation, we won't face some particular challenges that we face in Nigeria. So we recommend this policy to Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, who is the special advisor to the President on Security Matters, that is in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because this requires swift action as it borders on security matters. For our research, we use secondary data majorly, and our primary data was gotten 8 hours to the end of the submission of the policy paper. I mean, we got 53 responses from our primary data, which is quite impressive because we only had 8 hours. Okay, so I'll be moving on to the recommendations. Here, I'll be handing over to my teammate in person of, sorry, is he here?
Yeah, I'm here. Good evening,
Person of
everyone.
Alabi Emmanuel.
Yeah, my name is Alabi Emmanuel, and moving on to recommendation, our policy paper was able to come about 3 recommendations. And one of these recommendations is a land sharing cooperative, which we tag LSC. Now, what is the point of having a land sharing cooperative? This is a cooperative whereby the farmers use the land, the available land, during the wet season, and the others are able to utilize this same land during the dry season. Now, how is this going to be helpful? Looking at the weak implementation of existing policies, there is need for the government to bring about and come about an initiative that provides inclusivity for both the farmers and the others. So one of them does not feel left out on policies that are in place. Now, our next recommendation was on advocating for better execution of the National Livestock Transformation Plan, the NLTP, which was in place in 2018. This has also lacked backing and implementation, and we recommended a better ways for this. We looked at institutional reform. There's been absence of strong legal reforms, which has made these policies ineffective. Next slide, please. We've come about strategies to implement these policies and these recommendations. One of it is the government could start from Plateau and Benue states, which are one of the most affected regions and geographical situations situated in Nigeria. The government can facilitate an agreement and offering seed fundings for the farmers and the others in order to better implement this. We also looked at for advocating, we looked at the inclusion of community stakeholders. We are aware of the fact that these people see their traditional rulers, their community leaders, the chairman of their local government as important people, and they would be willing to listen to them, and the government can collaborate with these people to foster growth in these areas of this implementation. Now, we also looked at institutional reforms and legal backing. The government could start to enforce better and effective legal reforms in areas such as the North Central and the Northwest, Plateau, Benue, and Kano states. This can go from between 2015 to 2025 to 2026. Next slide, please. Now, the change process fits perfectly into the goal of the sustainable development. This is a process that fits into goal 13, goal 2, this goal 16 of the sustainable development. Next slide, please. As noted in the internally displacement monitoring center, there has been an estimated 3.3 billion people who have been less displaced. And our primary data also noted that majority of 71.9 of our respondents identified that lack of safety is a major challenge to them. We hope to see a better Nigeria without or less security threats and leading crisis. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Team Stabilis. That was a wonderful presentation.
Yeah, thank you
Up
so
next,
much.
please.
Thank you so
Our next. Okay, sorry, we would have a question session with the judges. So, Team Stabilis, please pay attention and listen to our judges.
Yeah, thank you so much. Any judge with any question, Event or Shindi?
I think I have a thoughts before Chimdi jumps in. Well done, since I think first of all, I think your policy memo was very well researched. Good use of primary and secondary data. I think that was very, very impressive. I also like that in your recommendation, most times people think of policy recommendations as like new things, but I like that you guys also found out that there already exists a national livestock transformation plan, which should be implemented, and then you brought that back again. Nigeria's challenge usually is that we have very wonderful policy documents written that never gets implemented. So I think in preparation for the final, I think what you guys should do is research more into why it's not implemented and add that to your, that's if you guys move on to the final. I'm not assuming that you're moving to the final, but research more into why the National Livestock Transformation Plan is not being implemented and add that to your policy memo. So that if we submit this now to Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, he understands what has limited the implementation of the National Livestock Transformation Plan and has a better idea of how to sort of like work around that loophole. But all in all, I think wonderful presentation and good use of infographics as well.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Chimdi, I think you have a question.
Yeah, I echo Iben's thoughts. Well done, Since Stabilis. I'm into national security, so this is exciting. And when someone sees a work that is impressive, my question is on climate change as a driver for the farmer health crisis. Were you guys able to get kind of any data to support that particular point of climate change as a driver, the farmer head at this? But aside that, I like the point like your recommendations, and as Iben said, just if you move on to the final, just tweak a lot of, well, just few things, and you'll be perfectly perfect to go. So, but my question is that were you guys able to get early data to show that climate change is actually a driver from our electricity?
Okay, in response to Mr. Chimdi, thank you so much for that question. I mean, it's not news that climate change is a major driver, but our policy paper was majorly focused on the violence and the clashes that exist between this and how to mitigate this violence. Now, I mean, climate change is also very important, but majorly our paper was focused on violence and the clashes and the mitigation.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
okay.
Mr.
I'll be excited to see how you might weave that in. Maybe even after the competition, just think about it.
All right, that would be
I know
it. Thank you so much,
you have
sir.
enough time. So yes,
Yeah,
but your response is diplomatic enough to let you go.
yeah, I don't know if
Thank
Tori have any
you.
question and you're muted by the way.
I don't really have a question. I was sort of looking forward to the conclusion, which I guess you couldn't get to because
Mhm.
you wanted to keep up with the time. I guess my only recommendation is if you're going to move on to the finals, a bit better time management, I guess, because there's some things that would have made the presentation stick home better. So because there was no summary, no conclusion, your pieces were not able to come together at the end because you couldn't drive home the exact point you wanted to pass across. So hopefully this doesn't affect you going forward, but you can just take that as a feedback. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you, Ma.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. I think we have a minute left. And one final question is your idea on the land sharing cooperative. I don't know how you guys are foreseeing that. I would assume that some of these land are currently owned by some people, right? So how do you foresee, maybe avoiding or de-escalating or making people agree despite these propositions from the government to ensure that people are allowed to use their land at a particular time? Because I think one of the key edict of this is some of these grazing areas are owned by people, not by government. So yeah, government owns all land, I know that. But so I hope you understand my question. How do you foresee the government managing that technically?
Okay. I think I would like to answer that. Thank you, sir, for that question. The purpose for that is due to the fact that we realize that the Fulani, the elders, most of them are pastoralist and nomadic in nature. They would move from their, original inhabitant and decide to move to this area. Now, for the land sharing cooperative, it's not just about sharing, it's about going from conflict to collaboration. There could be a situation where they share profits on what is made from the use of that land. Maybe if the farmers use it and the others utilize it, maybe the original owner is going to take a certain percentage of what is made from it. So I hope that answers the question, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, that's good. Over to you, Dan. Great presentation, and I hope you guys, whatever happens, let's see what happens. But best of luck. Yeah.
Thank you so much,
All
Mr.
right,
Kenny.
thank
We
you.
really appreciate.
All right, so thank you to our judges and thank you to Team Stabilis. Up next, we're going to have Team Harvest Up. Team Harvest Up, are you here?
Yes, we're here.
All right, so Team Harvest Up, we have Olabi Aliyah, Halabi Afalami, Okorie Glory, Ojo Oroluwa, and Obi My Gift. So please, you have the floor and you have 7 minutes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Obi Magif, the representative of Team Harvest. Team Harvest is a team inspired with the vision of desire of agricultural excellence in Nigeria. Our presentation today is titled Rooted Solution: Cultivating a Food Secure Future. Moving right into it. One of the major Yeah, we are going to look at the introduction, problem statement, and other things. Introduction: Nigerian food insecurity is a significant challenge exhibited and influenced by economic hardship, climate change, and ongoing conflict. These are the factors that influence food insecurity in Nigeria. Next slide. With over 220 million people, Nigeria is the most populated country in Africa. According to the World Food Programme, 4.4 million people are insecure in the northern East Nigeria. 37% of people nationwide live below the poverty line, and 2.2 million people are internally displaced. Coupled with the projection that by 2025, 33.1 million Nigerians will face acute insecurity in Nigeria. So this is a very crucial problem that is affecting the food insecurity in Nigeria. So why do we need to address it? Our policy is being addressed to the Senator Abubakar Kyari, Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security. So moving on to the problems. Number one is inflation. Inflation is a very crucial problem affecting the agricultural sector. According to this diagram we see here, this graph depicts Nigerian food inflation trend, showing a general rise in food prices from March through to November. Food prices increased after the government declared the removal of subsidies. However, this increase in food price can be drawn down to high level of importation of foodstuff and other machineries. Next slide. Climate change, another very crucial problem affecting food insecurity. For decades, the effect of climate change has led to low food production. Major causes of climate change are inappropriate waste disposal, industrial emissions from fossil fuels. The 2022 devastating flood that hit Nigeria, killing about 500 persons and displacing over 1 million persons, became one of the core reasons Nigeria witnessed low agriculture in the same year. Next slide. This crisis, the next slide is going to be looking at the conflict, that is the Boko Haram insurgency and the Herder farmer crisis. Boko Haram insurgency is being fueled by poverty and desire for financial gain, where people are being recruited to join the Boko Haram operations, falling more concerned that the insurgency will persist. And the climate change is also influencing the herder and farmers conflict. The changing rainfall pattern and hotter temperature have led to less grazing land and water for livestock. This has put herders to move into areas where farmers are growing crops, which leads to conflicts over resolution. So I'll be handing over to my other teammates to speak more on the recommendations and another part.
Good evening, everyone. I am Alia Ulabi. I'm going to be talking about the recommendations to give and the next step to take by the government in order to ensure food security in Nigeria. One of these recommendations include we have strengthening of local food system, and this can be done by supporting of local markets, by improving storage and transportation, investing in improved storage facilities, and we can also promote local food processing. This will help to encourage the development of local food processing industries in order to add value to produce and to create employment opportunities for people. So another recommendation is to implement targeted safety social needs, social safety nets, sorry. Implement targeted social safety nets. This can be done by expanding food banks and feeding programs, also public work programs. We have supporting of smallholder farmers. This can be done by the access to credit and finance, providing access to affordable credit and financial services to smallholder farmers. This will enable them to invest in improved facilities. We also have establishing of farmer cooperative. This include the encouragement of farmers cooperative, smallholder farmers to pool resources together. Another recommendation is enhance food availability and accessibility. This will help improve market information and address price variation. So we have execution, education, and migration strategy. In order to tackle the farmer-elder conflict, the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security is set to develop a
We
clear
can't
strategy.
we can't hear you so clearly. Do you want to speak up louder? So I think we lost you at some point and your voice sounded muffled. You want to try again?
said I'm giving
Google,
recommendations
please.
and next steps. Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, go
Sir, can
on.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
So I'm giving recommendations and next steps to take in order
Yes,
to
please.
ensure food security in Nigeria. I talked about strengthening of local food system. So we have implementation plan. There are activities that we should take, key actions, responsible stakeholders, timeline, and output. In supporting local markets, we have to identify and upgrade up to at least 10 markets. Then responsible stakeholders for this is the Ministry of Agriculture and local government. The timeline for this will just take from 1 to 6 months. Then output will result towards functional and better equipped markets. Another activity here under supporting of smallholder farmers is training and extension services. The key action there is to organize quarterly training sessions, and the responsible stakeholders for this is Agri Extension Department. To take just 2 to 24 months, and the output will bring about farmers trained on best practices. Then we have expand under implement targeted social safety nets. The activity there is expand food banks and programs. The key action is partner with NGOs to open food hubs in 10 LGAs. The responsible stakeholder is the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs. It will take about 4 to 12 months. Then the output is food access for 20,000 families. That's what it results into. Another activity under enhanced food availability and accessibility, we have promote diversified diet. Then the key action here is community campaigns and school gardens. Responsible stakeholders in Ministry of Health, Agri and Education. To take 6 to 24 months, and it will result in increased consumption of vegetables. Also, we have address food volatility. The key action here is create buffer stock programs and regulate price goings. The Ministry of Agriculture, market boards, we are the responsible stakeholders for this. To take 6 to 24 months, and the output will result in more stable food prices. Next slide, please. So in the closing statement, immediate action is crucial for the Ministry of Agriculture under Senator Babcock University, as an estimated 3 million Nigerians will actually face food insecurity by 2025, alongside challenges like climate change and conflict. So the Ministry of Agriculture must implement effective strategies in order to prevent widespread sufferings and instability. Thank you.
Thank you, Team Harvest. Please, judges, question time.
Yes, thanks, thanks, Dami, and thank you, Team Harvest. Beautiful use of graphics for your presentation. I think I have a quick question. So in your policy memo, you discovered that climate change and flooding was going to be one of the challenges, or it's one of the challenges as to why we struggled with food security in Nigeria. But I didn't see any recommendations that you have to sort of like address that, because I don't know if you guys found out that while writing your policy memo, but like NIMET, that's the meteorological agency in Nigeria, actually predicted that there will be low rainfall in 8 northern states in Nigeria this year. And that also has a way of affecting food security. So is there like any idea in there for like thinking of artificial irrigation as opposed to waiting for rainfall? Are there some kind of projects you think the ministry can sort of work on? Let me not give you the answers, but yeah, I mean, did you take that into account while working on your policy memo?
Good evening, sir. Yes, sir. We actually placed it into our policy memo. I think I want to share my screen so we can.
Yes, please. Go on.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you. Can we see me, sir?
See someone hovering over the implementation plan. Is that
okay? Yeah. So
okay.
One of the strategies under implement targeted social safety net is public works program. That is the launch of rural job scheme. That is road rehab and irrigation. One of these things is under the Ministry of Works, and to ensure that, because Nigeria is very vulnerable to harsh weathers and rainfall, sometimes flood, and it's very important for us to have irrigation systems that will help mitigate the vulnerabilities of these things, and it would actually make food more accessible, because when we have high rainfall in Nigeria or any other climate change action, people really don't have access to food. For instance, having flood in your community, it will be very hard for you to go and harvest whatever you have, but having a good irrigation plan and good rural structure, it will help in mitigating that, sir.
Okay, amazing. So my advice, if you make it to the final, my advice is bring this point out from the implementation plan into as one of your recommendation points, right? Because in your memo,
Okay,
you
sir.
found out that climate change was one of the problems, so that you have a recommendation that addresses that particular problem. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Over to you guys. Kenny, Toro, do you guys have any questions?
My question is, how many are you guys in the team?
Yeah,
You're 5.
5 in number, sir.
5 of you are on this call.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Why did only 2 people present? If I'm correct, how many people present?
3, sir. We want to be time
We
conscious, sir.
agreed on 2.
Okay, you guys agreed on.
Yeah, because of time consciousness, sir.
My advice is if you make it to the final, try to all speak. One of this teamwork. Matter the time, 7 minutes. So people do it in 4 minutes, 5 minutes. My fellow judges remember there was one we did in less than 5 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question. I can see a timeline, and I'm just curious, on what metric did you use to come up with your timelines? Is this arbitrary? Is this empirical? Is this from some data? How did you decide on the timelines for your implementation?
Okay. Thank you very much, Ma. So we carried out a survey, although we really don't have much time to get like much input, but we were able to get direct information from farmers across Nigeria, including Plateau State, Nasarawa State, Lagos State, Ekiti State, and other Ekiti and Ogun State. And these are very important strategic areas in the country. We have Plateau in the northern part of Nigeria. We have Lagos in the southwestern part. And these farmers actually gave us some challenges that they face, and we actually put those things together to formulate this timeline.
Okay, so you are working based on the survey. So there's no comparison.
Yeah, we have comparison, but we just so we can get primary sources from the people facing the problem, although not really all of them, but we want to make sure that we hear from those people in those sectors.
Okay, I have 2 suggestions, I guess. Thank you very much for your answer. You might want to put some sum of indicator on how you arrived at something like that. That stood out to me because I wanted to know if there was something that was just empirical or you had actually had facts backing or specific reasons on why you decided on this timeline. So some comment or indicator would be nice. And then secondly, your introduction, there was so much information there about the herdsmen, the Boko Haram, the food, climate change. You might want to focus on exactly what you want to pass across as concisely as possible if you move on to the final.
Okay, ma'am.
That will be all from me. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, Mom.
Thank you.
Thank
Great
you,
job.
ma'am.
Yeah, I don't have a question. Great job, and yeah, best of luck. Dami, over to you.
All right, so thank you. Please, up next, we're going to have Team Zenith. Team Zenith, are you on the call?
Yeah, we are on the
Zenith?
call. Yes, we are on the call.
All right, so for Team Zenith, we have Alaron Kola, Badamosi Anan, Alade Oyinlola, and Divine. So you have the floor. Thank you. 7 minutes, please. 7 minutes.
What else? Where's the gift?
Good evening, everyone. Picture this, a nation with enough installed electricity capacity to power its future yet nearly 40% of its population remains in the dark. Nigeria's power sector is at the crossroads. We have about 17 gigawatts of generation capacity, but less than half of our population, less than half of this reaches homes and businesses, resulting in staggering economic loss of about $29 billion annually. Our research reveals that 62.5% of Nigerians get about 5 to 8 hours of electricity daily, forcing about 81.3% to rely on expensive generator and other power sources. These aren't just statistics. They represent missed opportunities, stifled businesses, and constrained livelihoods. Today, I and my team will be presenting you with actionable policy solutions to transform this crisis into an opportunity. We are leveraging capital markets, private sector investment, and smart reforms to build a power sector that works for all. And we are directing our policy memo to Dr. Adedayo Adilabu, Honorable Minister of Power in Nigeria. What if I told you that Nigeria's power sector loses more money each year than the GDP of 26 African nations combined, $29 billion, what vanishes annually through an unstable grid that leaves 87 million citizens without reliable electricity? Yeah, on the team, we have myself, Alara Mohammed, Alade Oyinlola.
Just to be sure, you've stopped sharing your screen, whoever is doing that. Sorry. Yeah.
So we'll be walking you through our executive summary, the background, and walk you through a background and context of the power sector in Nigeria. We walk you through our evidence and analysis of our data collected and our proposed recommendations.
I know I'm not meant to do this, but in the interest of you guys' team, there's no synchrony between the person presenting and the person talking. Like, I know it's not my network.
I think it's his network. I'm sorry, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to stop share and then maybe Mohammed, do you want to try sharing?
Do you have access to the documents?
You have access. It's like your own network is a lot more clear.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, I'll do that now.
Maybe Mohammed doesn't have a laptop, I would assume, but even though, let's see. Do you guys have any technical issue? Do you need any technical help? Mohammed, I think the person showing was Divine in your day or something.
So should we give them some time to get themselves together, then we have another team? Or just wait for them?
I'm very sorry. My God.
Yeah, I would say let's give them some time to get their together, but at the final you may not have that kind of time. So I mean, this is
we are very sorry, sir.
You're being magnanimous. Okay. It feels like Divine is back. Divine, have you started sharing?
Cool. Yeah, thank you very much.
Go on.
Yeah. So Nigeria's power crisis is both a drain on our economy and a barrier to our progress. So the sector suffers about $29 billion in annual economic loss due to unreliable electricity, while only 61% of Nigerians have consistent access to power. Despite an installed generation capacity of 17 gigawatts annually, which operate at less than 50% efficiency, two critical gaps exacerbate this problem: 9.04% transmission losses, far above the 7% benchmark, and a metering coverage of just 46.5%, leaving millions on estimated and often inflated bills. To bridge this gap, our solution focuses on three key levers. The first is unlocking capital markets through infrastructure and green bonds, expanding public-private partnerships to modernize the grid and implement tariff reforms to attract sustainable investment. Together, these measures can stabilize Nigeria's power sector, reduce waste, and finally deliver reliable electricity to homes and businesses. The next person will be walking us through the background and context. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. I am Alade Onololami, and I'll be taking the background and context. Over the years, Nigeria's power sector has evolved from a state-controlled monopoly to a partially privatized industry. The National Electric Power Authority, which is popularly known as NEPA, was established in 1972 as a centralized power authority, but due to its inefficiencies, its service quality declined. The 2005 Electric Power Sector Reform Act was aimed to attract private investments, but the power supply still remained unreliable. Recently, there have been reforms like the Electricity Act of 2023 and the 2.4 trillion naira subsidy plan to address these challenges. But in order to have a long-term stability, a sustainable private investment is necessary. The next person will be taking the evidence analysis.
Good evening, everyone. I'll be taking the evidence analysis part. To get our primary data, we did a questionnaire, and about 84 individuals filled the questionnaire and 17 businesses. Yeah. So the questionnaire was divided into two parts for individuals and businesses. And from our responses, we got 2.5%. So they receive only 5 to 8 hours of power per day. This means that, okay, in a day, about 62% of the population get only 5 to 8 hours of electricity. Also, from the survey, it's 1.3% rely on generators and 12.5% on solar. So this question was alternative sources of power. So we asked the respondents if they use other sources of power. So 81% chose generators, 12% chose solar, while the remaining percentage rely on other sources of power. 68.8%, they rate the electricity supply reliability from 1 to 2 out of 5. What does this mean? This means that from a scale of 1 to 5, 68% of the population rates the reliability of electricity supply between 1 to 2, which is very unreliable. Then about 62% spend 100,000 to 500,000 annually on this alternative sources of power. And the last question we asked them was if they will support private sector solutions, and about 87.5% of people agree to this. Then we also have data on the foreign direct investment inflows. So as of 2022, $11.7 million were from foreign direct investment, and these were due to regulatory risks and policies. Then we also talk about energy waste, which was 6.6 million joules per USD, and compared to the global 4.6 million joules per USD, this is very high, and this shows that the Nigerian power sector wastes quite a large amount of energy.
Good day, everyone. I'll be taking the proposed recommendations. So we are starting from, we propose that we could start from capital market.
I mean, is there time up? Because I saw you said 2 minutes to go. 30 seconds, okay. Okay, Kenny, are we moving on because of time?
Yeah, I think so. I think we should. Dami, I think we can move on to question and answers for them and comments, and maybe I will just get started with that.
All right, so I actually realized that majority of them are actually not on the call, like they are being logged out. So I think their network is very terrible. I can't see any of their team members.
It's all right. It's okay. I can see if you're like you see Mohammed is still here, I think. I would just want to give a very important comment here, which is that like I listened to your presentation. I find it particularly impressive that despite slight, you guys know the content of it, and I was listening to it. It was unfortunate though that we can't see what you're talking about, and this speaks to the fact that like the hard work of intellectual work is not enough, but also the logistics of things is very important. So I think that you guys should have checked and asked a question of which of you have a good network best to present, and maybe try to have a little, because I expect you guys to have met via Zoom or something, or Google Meet while preparing for this. And this is the reason why we could not see your slide. But nonetheless, I try my best to listen to you. And as I said, I'm appreciative of the fact that like you guys knew your content, despite the little challenge, you were able to face. You had a good and powerful intro that caught my attention. I think from Mohammed, I think that was very terrific. But was, as I said, the slide is unfortunate. I don't think I have a question, but that comment, and also for other people that might advance to the final, is that logistics might be the little thing, but it's also kind of very important because it can make all your efforts go down the drain if you guys are not. Now, this doesn't say that you guys don't stand a chance. Don't misquote me. As I said, I listened to everything you said. I heard you, and I'm sure that judges did too. And I hand over to either Tori, Shindi, or Eben for their comments or questions.
Yeah, no, plus one to your point, Kenny, on logistics. I also want to say that I think this is a very huge improvement on their policy memo. When I read the policy memo earlier, things felt a bit jumbled up, but I think like in your presentation, it was very clear. And I think it speaks to what Tori was saying earlier about putting your points clearly on what exactly you want to solve. And I think you had those 3 quick solutions. One thing that I would love to see if you guys make it to the final is do some more research on. So Nigeria has this rural electrification agency that's been connecting like rural communities using off-grid power. So like a lot of solar panels for rural communities. And I don't know if you've done any like impact assessment on that agency, not sure, but just check if there's any data out there on how many communities have been connected 2 years down the line. Do they still use solar energy? How well has it improved their businesses and their lives and stuff like that? I think that would be quite useful because if we're advocating for more green bonds, I think it's key to sort of like look at what we've done before. Does it really like have any impact before we can ask for a lot more money? So just take note of that, whether you're here or if you're going to listen to the recording of the call. Yeah. Over
Thank
to
you very
guys.
much, sir.
Yeah, Toro, do you want to go or should I go?
You can go ahead.
Should I go?
You can go ahead.
Yes. So I agree with the comments, especially Kenny's comment on logistics. I think the first presenter caught my attention. Like that was wow. I was like, okay, let me listen. To the point that when you guys start having the first technical hiccup, I wanted to add that the first presenter, this is what you said, this is NEPA and co and all of those stuff affecting your presentation. But unfortunately, you might not always have 2 opportunities to make a first impression. So please take that into perspective if you have to move into the fine. You have everything set to make your presentation well. But the slides, I must say, they are very good.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, I think I'll go now. Well done. I would commend you guys because amidst all your technicalities, I noticed you guys didn't falter. The fact that you saw the presentations to the end is amazing. So I must give you guys props for that. That shows a level of professionalism that I appreciate. And just generally the ability to handle when things are going wrong. So well done. I'm more of a visual learner. So your technicalities sort of threw me off. Technical problems threw me off, but like everybody has said, your introduction was very powerful. If I have any comments, I would just say, while the introduction captured me, your technical jargons almost threw me off. I understand the fact that you want to pass across that you have done your research and you are speaking in the language of the field, but at the same time, you also need to maintain a balance between the technical experts and communicating to people who may not necessarily be as well versed in the field. So when you're communicating these things, you have to find the balance. I feel like that's the only feedback I can give, seeing the situation, but well done. And if you make it to the finals, like everybody has said, work on your logistics and you should be good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much, everyone.
Over to you, Dami.
All right, so thank you, Team Zenith. We'll move on to Policy Forge. Team Policy Forge, are you on the call?
This guy.
All right, so I think Team Policy Forge are not on the call. We're going to move on to the next team. Judges, is that allowed? Permission to go ahead, please.
Yeah,
We are wasting our time.
for teams that are not able to make their time, have a 20% score deduction. So yeah, they can, if they still make it before, because yeah, this is what it is.
All right. So we'll move on to Team Orbs. Are you on the call, Team Orbs?
Yes, we are on the call.
All right, so welcome, Team Orbs. We have Oketa Grace, Ugochukwu Adeze, Okeke Chidera, and Adekonya Ayodeji. So you have the floor, Team Orbs.
Everyone, please, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Please, am I being heard?
Yeah, we can hear you, but your screen is still loading, so I'm not sure.
Good evening, everyone. Please, can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, panelists. Good evening, my co-competitors and esteemed guests. My name is Ugochukwu Adeze, representative of Team Orbs.
Sorry to cut you short, but you're echoing a lot and your screen is not showing. I don't know if you've noticed, but we can't see anything.
Sorry, I'm coming. I'm sorry. Please, am I being heard?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
We can hear, and I think we can see your screen now. Do you want to go back to the slides? It feels like you've come back to the Zoom.
Discuss. Say something there. Wait, my name.
You should use your phone to share, and I think that worked. So you may want to try that.
I'm so sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect. We can hear you.
So,
Okay, let's do this. Is the other team ready? So we have policy shaper and team ups trying. Okay, okay, let's see if it works now. If not, we may have to just.
I'm so sorry. Good evening, everyone. Please, am I being heard?
Yeah, we can hear you now. It's perfect. We can see your slide. Great. Yeah.
My name is Gochupa Adeze. I'm a representative of Team Ops and will be presenting on petroleum subsidy removal and its economic impact, strategies to alleviate its negative impact. And we'll be addressing this policy paper to the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. So firstly, what is petroleum subsidy? Petroleum subsidy is a government action that keeps the price of fuel low for the citizens. Due to fluctuations in oil prices in the global market, the Nigerian government was conscious that it's going to affect the Nigerian citizens. So Nigeria took a step by providing fuel subsidy for its citizens. And this can be done through taking tax breaks, for giving tax breaks to the citizens, directly paying for fuel on behalf of the citizens, or by implementing a maximum fuel price. So the history of fuel subsidy in Nigeria. Fuel subsidy in Nigeria was introduced in 1973 as a result of the global fluctuation in prices. This was actually a temporary measure taken by the government to help its citizens. After fulfilling its purpose, the Nigerian government decided or advocated to remove the fuel subsidy, but this was contested by several Nigerians who were benefiting from this. Finally, in May 29th, 2023, at His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu's inauguration ceremony, he declared that fuel subsidy was gone, and this decision is still in place till today. So what is our main argument in this policy paper? Our main argument is that despite the fuel subsidy or petrol subsidy being removed with good intent, its manner of removal has greatly affected Nigeria's economy and citizens through rapid inflation, leading to increase in poverty and rapid decline in the economic growth. The fuel subsidy was removed because the Nigerian economy was suffering, because Nigeria had to borrow money from outside to continue financing this fuel subsidy. So this fuel subsidy was successfully removed by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but it was too rapid, and the citizens and the economy are suffering the brunt of this. In contrast, the people mostly affected are the poor, who do not actually make use of this petrol or fuel. This is bizarre because they don't use petrol, they hardly own cars, they hardly own generators, but they are the ones suffering from this through increased public transportation fares and so on and so forth. So this has to be addressed. So the effect of fuel subsidy removal has both negative and positive effects. It encourages innovation and creativity by allowing fuel industry to compete and to try to get best fuel prices, the lowest fuel prices for the consumers. It's a relief for the government as they're no longer bearing the financial burden of providing fuel subsidy. It generates revenue for the government, as these funds can be directed to other parts such as health, education, etc. It reduces the budget deficits as it reduces the amount of money Nigeria has to borrow, or it may totally eliminate the need to borrow money from outside and other benefits. This also has, because of its rapid removal, it has negative effects. That is low standard of living, high cost of living as prices of goods are high. This is something I can personally relate to because when I was in primary school, the price of milk was like 50 naira per sachet. But as at now, it's almost getting to 300 naira per sachet. And this is very, very alarming because the poor people are the ones feeling this. So it increased poverty. Also, cost of business operations are high because infrastructure, transportation costs are high, which will obviously affect the prices that these businesses sell. This leads to my next point. So the next slide says, who is affected by fuel subsidy? My team, we have termed these people as the vulnerable population. That is children, micro, small, and medium enterprises, low income earners, etc. These are the people who are actually suffering the brunt of fuel subsidy removal because it was too rapid. The government didn't prepare for this. So statistics shows that 63% Statistics provided by National Bureau of Statistics provides that about 63% of the Nigerian population are multidimensionally poor, and that's about 133 million people. So imagine 133 million people who are suffering from poverty, suffering from high cost of living as a result of the rapid fuel removal. This negative impact of subsidy removal is mostly, I've said it before, mostly felt by the poor who do not use this for petrol products. So the recommendation provided by my group is that, firstly, we should provide subsidy to the deserving consumers. My group, we believe we have adopted the definition that these deserving consumers are the poor who actually do not use petrol. And this can be done by attacking it at the root cause, which is transportation, because they are mostly affected through transportation. They make use of public transport. And because fuel prices are high, they do this. So in order to give this to them, subsidy should be given to owners of mass or public transportation. And this is one of the ways to address this issue. And also, we should encourage the government to invest in other sustainable means of energy like solar, electricity. The government can also use the revenue to address education and several other key aspects of the economy. They should also support micro, small, and medium enterprises by giving them assistance, by giving them tax breaks and things that will help them, because they contribute about 48% to the gross domestic product. That's the general economy revenue of the country. And finally, diversification of Nigerian exports, because currently Nigeria has only crude oil as the means of obtaining revenue. If Nigeria makes conscious efforts to invest in the exportation of cocoa, cotton, and granules, and several other things, they will be able to gain more revenue to help support people who are feeling this. So in conclusion, Team Ops have found the strategies. These recommendations are believed have been tested, as shown in the slide, has been tested, and several respondents have agreed that these recommendations are very effective in addressing the negative impacts of fuel subsidy on the Nigerian population. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Team Orbs. Thank you very much. Over to our judges, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tim, also for your presentation. I think you can stop sharing your screen, that's fine. So my quick question to you is, Talak, I think in one of your presentation, I think also in your policy memo, I did read that you're thinking there should be, it's not, you didn't call it subsidy, but a form of like, let's say fund or revenue for some part of the population, like making stuff maybe less expensive or giving them some money. I've forgotten how you phrased it, if you can remember.
Stabilization fund, I think that was called.
Yeah,
something
stabilization fund or something.
Yeah.
I'm particularly, to me, that seems like bringing back subsidy, number one. You know, so it's, I don't know what you intend to achieve there. That's the first thing. Like, I think that's something like bringing that back subsidy. Two, how do you see the government giving, how do they make this metric? Nigeria currently have, out of 200 million population, I'm sure over 120 million are still in poverty, sort of. So it's quite frankly, so I think that it's kind of counterintuitive to me to see that you are trying to, solve subsidy issue, but also bring it back subsidy. So maybe you have better explanation and we can be wrong. So I will open it up to any of your team members to answer it.
I'm sorry, please, can you come again? Can you give the questions one by one? I'm sorry.
Okay, just one question. You recommended that there should be a bit of stabilization fund to some part of the population that might not be able to necessarily withstand the economic effect of this petrol subsidy or this subsidy stuff. To me, and also even agrees, it feels like it's still an indirect way of bringing back subsidy. So it's like a counterintuitive recommendation to me. Governments cannot afford to, to maybe help people anymore, but yet you're still recommending stabilization fund. So how do you see this, not maybe in a way, not counterintuitive to bring it back subsidy? Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for the technical issues that happened at the beginning of the presentation. I'm so sorry. Then to address that particular question, we said that my team, we agreed that the deserving poor are the people who make use or who are suffering the negative effects of the petrol subsidy, but do not actually use it. So it was actually found that it was mostly the middle income earners and the rich in the country who were actually benefiting the most from fuel subsidy. And when it was removed, it is actually the poor who are feeling the brunt of it. So it was also traced that it was through transportation that they are feeling this effect. So our proposal is that the government can provide subsidy to the poor by making or imposing a tax or levy on fuel prices for the rich, because they were the ones enjoying and using this who were enjoying the fuel subsidy at when it was implemented. And even currently, there are still people who are benefiting from fuel subsidy removal. So it is best, or the best or most effective strategy is to provide transport subsidy for that's owners of public transport like buses, public taxis, vans, all these buses that provide public transportation for the poor. By giving them subsidy, it will make things cheaper. One, it will make things cheaper for the poor people. And two, since businesses also make use of this public transportation, the cost of goods, cost of things in Nigeria, the prices will drastically reduce. It also serves as a way to reduce or cushion the inflation in Nigeria. That's our policy recommendation.
Okay, thank you. That's all for mine. Any other? Okay, sorry.
Hi, thank you very much for your presentation. I think I have a feedback rather than a question. I think just as a note, if you do advance to the final, you need to be very careful of the way you deliver your presentation. It's in as much as you want to show your passion, there's a thin line between presenting it from an emotional point and from a factual standpoint. I don't think that balance was necessarily maintained in your presentation. In your slides, I don't know if it was me because the slides were a bit small, but I don't think I necessarily saw references or literature that actually backed the things that you were saying. All I could just hear was more from an emotional point of view rather than actual facts. So you might want to take note of that if you do advance to the finals. And I was a bit confused in your presentation because of the introduction you gave. And then when I saw the recommendations, it felt like you were solving the effects rather than the root cause. And I was a bit confused because in what you presented as your problem statement and the solutions you tendered, you were giving solutions to the effects, which was not what necessarily you presented in your problem statement. But then that's by the wayside. Nice presentation. I also want to applaud you for keeping cool again under your initial technical difficulties and seeing the presentation through. So that's it from me. Well done.
Thank you.
Yes, before that Dami comes on, just plus one to the point Toro made about need for referencing. Maybe somewhere in there, but because we couldn't see your slide in slide view, we couldn't tell. And also plus one to the point that Kenny made. I think something to add if you go to the final is if you ask the government about giving some kind of support to people who you call the vulnerable. One of the things the government will say is that the CNG initiative is supposed to tackle that, right? The government had launched the CNG, that's the natural gas initiative, and there are many arguments back and forth as to whether that initiative works or not. So maybe one angle you might want to add to your arguments is to say, support to the vulnerable, e.g. CNG. This is what has happened for the CNG initiative. maybe it's help bus drivers in Abuja or in Lagos reduce their cost of running for like 20% or 40% or something like that, right? So that shows that, okay, it means that if something actually gets invested there, that's a way to sort of help. Because just as Kenny asked, it's so broad. When we're reading memo, we're like, how would you even tell who to give the money to? Because Nigeria is such a big country. And it can get quite dicey when you're implementing that policy. So in your implementation plan, think around that if you go to the final. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, over to you, Dan. Yeah.
All right, so thank you, Team Obs. Up next, we have Team Impact Ed. Team Impact Ed, please, are you on the call?
Good evening. Yes, we are here.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening. Yep. Yes, we are here. We are present.
Yeah. I can hear you.
Team Impact Ed, please, are you on the call?
Yes, we are on the call.
Yeah, we can hear them. We can hear them.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Esther Onyewife, and I am the team lead for Team Impact Ed. And our policy title is Reshaping Political Science Curriculum in Nigerian Universities. My team members are Tomilayo Oluyamo and Tola Olaleko. So moving on, okay, yeah, the policy brief is directed to Professor Abdullahi his approaches, method to understanding political dynamics and institutions, with little teaching on practical aspects. So there is a gap between what is being taught in class and what is actually happening in the real world. And that's what we discovered that made us pick interest in this topic. And then we see that graduates of political science, not all actually go into like the government sector. Most people just graduate and begin to work in banks, begin to work in other sectors. And this is actually a gap because they are actually equipped with theoretical knowledge and they do not have hand-on experience. So ACU as a model. In 2022, Ajayi Crowther University introduced the Moot Parliament and Parliamentary Practices as a compulsory course in the department. The aim of the course was to introduce students and equip students of political science with hand-on experience of what happened in the National Assembly. And also in March 2024, the 300 level and 400 level students of the Department of Political Science went on a field trip to the National Assembly. And on this trip, we're able to get real-life experience, one of which was in ACU Moot Parliament. One thing we do is after every bill presentation, we clap for the party. But then when we went to the National Assembly, we're able to see that in the National Assembly, they do not clap in the National Assembly. Things go so solemn there. And after that, what we learned, we're able to implement it in Moot Parliament sections. So we conducted a survey. That's basically our primary source of data. And we can see that 51 respondents, and including students of political science, graduates of political science, and also lecturer of the Department of Political Science from 7 universities, including Ajayi Crowther University, Babcock University, Koladaisi University, and Obafemi Awolowo University. Our survey expanded not only with private university, but we also expanded to federal universities to also see that, yes, this is also a problem, not only in private university, but also in federal universities. So from our survey, 51 people filled the questionnaire, and we asked the question. And one of the questions we asked was, how relevant do you find political science curriculum? And on a scale of 1 to 5, 31 respondents picked 1 to 3, and that is actually shows that in most university they only focus on theoretical application and not practical experience. And also another question we asked was, what skill do you think is needed in the real world to help you in real world experiences that is not being taught in your class? And then we're able to see that policy writing, field internship and field experience, digital tools in politics, data analysis. And these are tools that we do not only need in classrooms, but beyond the classrooms. Data analysis is useful in writing projects, analyzing projects. And then I begin to wonder if students do not have knowledge on data analysis, then how then do they focus? How then do they work on their project? Also, we can see internship and field experience. Students are able to get hand-on experience. They go on internship, but most universities do not make it compulsory for political science students to go on internship and also have field experience of what happens in the National Assembly, local government, and all that. So I'll be handing over to my, okay, so before I hand over, you can see here, this is the Senate President of the Youth Parliament House in Naija University and the Senate Clerk. And also this was the evidence of when we went for the field trip. And this is and this is also the evidence of what I said earlier about we asked the question on what skill do you think is necessary, but they don't teach you in classrooms. So I'll be handing over to my teammate. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. All right, thank you so much, I'll be working down from the proposed policy solution. I'll be working down from the proposed policy solution. Adopt a blended curriculum. The National University Commission (NUC), the National University Commission (NEMAS), revise the CCMAS for political science to reflect balance in theories and practical. To reflect balance in theories and practical. This for one of the solutions that we want. We are proposing this for one of the solutions that University Commission should review.
There's an echo, guys.
Should review.
Can someone let him know? There's an echo, guys. Can someone let him know?
Yeah, it seems like two phones are on or something. Yeah, it seems
Yeah,
like
one person might have to unmute. Yeah, so one person might have to unmute. So that's
how about now, sir?
Yes, better now.
How about now, sir?
Yes, better now.
All right, sir. So we want the Nigerian University Commission to review the Nigerian University Commission
The problem is sorry, excuse me. You are using two devices and both of them are echoing. You are using two devices and both of them are echoing one after the other. I think you need to mute one of them. I think you need to mute one of them.
I'm actually using one device. I'm connected on just a single device. How about now? Is it just a single device? How about now?
It is still echoing, sir. It is still echoing, sir.
I don't know, maybe someone else is unmuted, but I'm actually using one device. Unmuted, but I'm actually using one device.
Together with your club.
Hello, can you hear me, sir? Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Is there someone? Is one of your teammates around you? Is one of your teammates around you?
Not at all. Not at all.
I guess you can carry on, I guess.
All right, ma'am. Thank you very much. All right, ma'am. Thank you very much. So we want the Nigerian University Commission. So we want the Nigerian University Commission view the theoretical and practical aspect of the curriculum, whereas the practical aspect can also be balanced with the theoretical aspect and also be balanced. Number two, we want partnership. We want to promote best practice and best practice. Nigerian University should collaborate to exchange knowledge and best
Can you hold on a second? Can you hold on a second and tell me what this is?
Okay.
So the person sharing this screen, are you sharing audio? So you're also receiving that audio, sharing it and also sharing it. Can you go to that share device also click no, then share your screen. Let's see if that fixes it.
Good evening, everyone. So sorry, I was sharing my screen.
And you're also sharing your device.
Oh, sorry about that.
So can you then share your screen without sharing your device audio? So put no on that share device audio. Can you go back to that place? There's a place you went just now before you, because this thing was, so can you click on like off that, turn that off? I see. So can you share your screen again? There's like a cursor, like a green cursor that turn on chef device or do. If you can turn that off, that would be great. So yeah, great. Then you can share your other part of your screen. I think that should be fine. Yeah.
All right.
Great. iPhone. Sorry, all of
Is
us
it fine now, sir?
that you were the problem. You can go ahead, iPhone.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
So, I would love to pick it up from the beginning again. So we're trying to share the proposed policy solution. So we shared that adopting a blended curriculum, and we want the Nigerian University Commission, the NUC, to look into the CCMES for political science to reflect balance in theory and practical. So we want a practical balance with the theoretical balance, so that it's not just that we have political science students are just learning in class and they do not just have the experience to practice outside class. Number two, we want to promote partnership and best practice sharing. Nigerian universities should collaborate to exchange knowledge and best practice. Number three, we want political science programs to make practical modules compulsory for all students. This includes multi parliament section, internship with policy institution, and field trips to the legislative bodies. So just like my leader said the other time, multi parliament section, just like they do in Ajayi, just like we do in Ajayi Crowther University. We want something like this to be inculcated in other universities where they where they have what's it called, a space to learn about the what's it called, how things are being done in the legislative bodies, and then internships should be made compulsory for students so that they can have an idea of what exactly is being done, how exactly things are being done in the parliamentary sections. So what are the next steps? A formal platform should be established with a formal platform should be established where university can share successful strategies and innovation in teaching political science. So in this sense, we want universities to come together and adopt a particular what's it called, a platform where they can share with other universities how they are trying to teach their students practically. Just like my leader had said the other time, we do not want, we've done a survey and we noticed that graduates of political science are actually not working with their certificates just because the curriculum is just centered on theoretical aspects. Now, number two, review core curriculum and minimum academic standard. So, call to action. It's time to move from political theory to political leadership. Just like we have the 2027 election upcoming, we noticed that different political parties, different political persons are trying to make their ways and see how they can navigate their way into power once again. This is the best time to get political science students to experience the political practice and not just the theoretical aspects. We can all agree that the theoretical aspects to some extent really does not work. And we want the Nigerian University Commission to also look into this and help us to come up with that's why we're coming up with a better strategy so that there can be a better practice for the political science students. We also want to bridge the gap between the classroom and the country. We want to bridge the gap between the classroom and the country in the sense that political science students who had gone through a process of 4 years and had gone through internship, had gone through multi-parliament section, which has broadened their understanding and their mind on how things have been done in the parliamentary section, can then begin to involve themselves in the political space of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Please, over to our judges.
Thank you so much, Team Impact Ed. I would say that I understand where you guys are coming from and trying to address the outdated curricula. But the first thing is, I think I want to comment to address your policy to the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian University Commission. But your policy is just addressing outdated curriculum of political science study. Now, that's why that is appropriate, a very narrowed topic, like you went to the most specific curriculum. And the NUC, the executive, may not be the best person to do that. So I will do a research on who is in charge. Is there like a national head of political science curriculum under the NUC? Or is there an association that can help advance that? Because you don't want to send your policy to a place that they'll be like, why should we focus on this, where we could do a global? This is not that having a local policy memo is not good. It's ideal if that's what you guys want to do. And that's, I think the fact that it's okay, that's one of the reasons why you could have advanced the semi-finals. So that would be my question for you. My other part is like, there was no data per se. Like, even though you had respondents from people, your data is derived from the fact that like your school have piloted this by adding a moots whatever principle. And you think other schools should, should also implement this. So self-serving assertions are not entirely good because, it is not, what is that doesn't reflect the average need of political science studies in the country. So do you have any data points that show on the national average, this is a necessary way to go for political science study in the country? And is there any other metric beyond what you guys have piloted in your school?
Okay, to answer your question, we made our research to see the NUC have the executive secretary is in charge of receiving and implementing policies. So that's why we addressed it to him instead of the chairman of the NUC commission. So the second question, to answer your second question, we had focus group discussions. I personally have friends in other university, Babcock University, Obafemi Awolowo University, and I spoke to them about this. How is it in your school? How is it? Most people study political science not because of they have interest in it. Yes, that's very valid. And then, okay, now that you are here and you know that you might not be able to transit to another course of study, it is important that you find interest in this course. And then if there is a way for practical experience for them to have hand-on experience, real life, they are able to get interest in the course. And so we did not only see it as, although yes, Ajay Koda is the blueprint, that's what we are proposing, that this is what is happening in our school, and we see that it's going to be good in other university as well. But we made our research and we found out that in Kolada, I see Obafemi Awolowo University, moot parliament and parliamentary processes is not something that they have as a compulsory course. And also internship is not compulsory in Obafemi Awolowo University. It is not compulsory in Kolada University. It is not compulsory in Foye. Most federal universities rated their curriculum very, they rated it poorly. And yes, so that's, I hope I answered your question, sir.
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
I guess I'll go next. I will go to your problem statement. There's a disconnect for me. You presented the problem as being, you said the students do not practice political science because of the gap between industry and academia practical skills, yes? Hello, did you get that?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
I said the inference I made from your problem statement was, you said your problem is that people do not practice the actual political science in the industry because there's a gap between the industry and academia in terms of practical skills, yes?
Yes, ma.
How did you make that? I saw your data and you were talking to people on what do they think is relevant for the course or what practical skills. Well, how exactly did you get that problem statement or infer that the reason why they are not practicing it is because of that? Why was that the conclusion? Do you get my question?
Can you hear me?
I think our network went off. You just left now. She was trying to say something. Yeah, I guess in the interest of time, I move on to the next person. Hopefully, yeah, maybe they can send a message, this stuff. But I totally agree with you. There's a disconnect in their inference and some of their data points. Yeah. But I think, Dami, we can move ahead. I also think, George, maybe just two of us go ahead to ask questions in the next two presentations so we can keep time on track. So, yeah.
All right, thank you. So we're going to have Team Phoenix next. So Team Phoenix, are you on the call?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi everyone. We're on the call.
Oh, all right. So welcome to Phoenix. You have the floor. We have Osho Adiola, Rachel, Tabitha, and Musimiolua. So please go ahead. Thank you.
Hi everyone. My name is Tabitha Pinto, and I'm the team lead of Team Phoenix. And we are going to be talking about youth and women empowerment, but then we'll be seeing it through the eye of politics. That is the youth and women in politics. So I'm going to be sharing my screen now. Please confirm you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Yes.
Okay. So, like I said earlier, we would be talking about the youth and women empowerment, and we'll be seeing it through the eye of politics. And our theme or our topic would be low participation of women and youth in Nigerian politics. Okay, so Team Phoenix, we are a team of 5 passionate individuals working on youth and women empowerment. And our names are as follows. We have Tabitha Pinto, which is me, the team lead. We have Osho Adiola, Rachel, we have Musimiloluwa, we have Blossom. Now, let's move on to the executive summary. It is no news that there's an unimpressive number of women and young individuals participating in political activities in Nigeria. The marginalization of the youth and women have increased over the course of years. And even though we have been trying to put on so many ways to make sure that this marginalization is stopped, but then we can see that it is still being hindered. Now, if we check here, the active percentage of women involved in politics is 10 to 12%, which is like a really low percentage for a total percentage of 100%, meaning we have about more percentage of men in politics and women, and the engagement of the youth has drastically been limited in 2025. Now, looking at it from the point of the 2019 elections, it was noted that out of 1,500 elective officials, only 103 were younger generation of or younger citizens, and with only few women representing. Now, we have to understand that if this should continue to take ground, ineffective governance will be like a permanent hallmark for Nigeria, because the youth and the women have more percentage compared to other people part of the population census. Now, according to the 2023 data from IPU, Nigeria lags behind many other similarly positioned states in sub-Saharan Africa, falling far short of the 26% regional average of women in national parliament. Now, this figure 1 shows the percentage that Nigeria is in. We can see that it is very low, which is under even 20% which is like a very low amount if we are to talk about youth and women representation in politics. Now, okay, so we have to understand that the women have a very important role to play, as most people see women to be empaths, and most people view this to be a reason why women would serve good or would do an amazing job in politics. Now, okay, now we see here in figure 2 that in 2023, women represented only 11% on average of candidates from small parties. Now, this is the gender representation of candidates in the 2023 national elections by parties. And we have we have ADC, we have ADP, we have LP, we have APGA, APC, respectively. Now, let's talk about the youth. The number of youth represented in Nigerian politics is nothing to write home about, which we all know that is true because now, from this data that is being showed here, we now know that in the House of Governorship and Deputies, we have just 51 candidates being youth out of a total of 837 candidates. Now, furthermore, we were talking about our evidence and analysis. Okay, so we had questionnaires put out there to make sure that we had a primary source and to make sure that we had an interaction with the public because they were the ones that we were targeting. So from what we saw, the first question was, what do you think prevents women from participating in politics? And we had people respond, someone saying, because of how people have made it a social norm that politics is a male-dominated field. Now, through this, we can see that there are cultural and social barriers. Also, we can see that there are lack of support, which can be seen in terms of funding, and also we can see also low encouragement from the older parties or from the elders, should I say. Now, moving on to our evidence and analysis. Okay, so it is still buttressing on the point that women and youth have a limited or low representation in the Nigerian politics. Okay, now I'm going to be moving on, but then I'll be passing it on to my fellow team member, Rachel. She'll be talking about the proposed recommendations on how we can bridge that gap on youth and women representation in the Nigerian politics. Thank you. Rachel.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rachel Sueku, and I am a team member of Team Phonics. So I'll be making more explanations on the proposed recommendations, the outcomes, and problem statements on the issue of women and youth involvement in Nigerian politics. So okay, so these recommendations are, actions that need to be taken or put in place in order to, get, women and youth involved in politics. So our first recommendation is 30% of women representation. That is, every political party has to ensure that at least 30% of their candidates are women. And secondly, women and youths, they have to be more aware about politics. They have to be educated more. They have to have full access to political educations. And thirdly, women and youth should get more financial support in order to achieve their political aspirations. Fourthly, also the Not Too Young to Run Act, which was passed into law by the former Nigerian president, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari. He passed this law in 2019. However, it is not yet effective. So the government should ensure that this is adhered to, and this act is, taken into action in the next general election. So we have pressing declarations that that the Minister of Women Affairs and Youth Development need to address, in the sense that we have majority, like women are they are more in numbers, but they have they are majority in numbers, but they are minority in power. So the women affairs, they need to ensure that women and youths, they have the access and ability to attain political power. And also the Minister of Women Affairs, she has to make sure that she has to address the issue of breaking Nigeria from the circle of age and male-dominated, leadership. So our impact here is the inclusive of youth and women in politics, and also there should be improvement of political awareness through seminars, lectures, and so on. And the adherence of to the Not Too Young to Run Act, it should also be adhered to, and there should also be improvements in democracy. And moving on to the outcome, there would be increase in women and youth political representation. There will be improved democracy, improved political awareness, and also there will be increased funding, more financial support for for the youth and for the women. And also there will be more there will be high rates of women and youths participating in Nigerian politics. And moving on, some of the
Sorry,
activities that we sorry.
I think your time is up. I just saw the message from Dami.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Just dive into question because we have one more team left and we are both late already overboard. Yeah. My question for you guys is, if you go to the slide of your evaluation or something, or the data questionnaire that you made, while it's okay, why did you guys decide to use qualitative? Can you click on that slide if you don't mind? Yeah, everything is qualitative. Like, why? And when I mean qualitative, there's nothing quantitative, no metrics, no numbers. And it's kind of a bit tricky to be able to know, people's opinion quantitatively rather than this. Is there any reason why you guys did that?
Okay, regarding that, sir, there is no reason, but then the reason why we decided to make it more qualitative was we wanted to have free expression from the public. We wanted access to what the public were exactly saying. And then down here, our questionnaires, we still depicted more qualitative because we wanted to know it is a person issue. So we wanted to have the youth and the women's participation or input for us to see directly and to understand it better, sir.
Yeah, I agree with you. So if you look at this slide, I'm glad you went there yourself. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with Google Sheet. Just this response can be seen quantitatively by looking at the result. Just you see number of percentage that said yes to these, numbers that said no. So while I understand your stand on the previous question of qualitative, this can be expressed quantitatively. So my feedback, should you advance to the final, is this is less informative for us. We want to know how many number of people said yes to this question. And Google Sheet is very easy. Google Form, it's going to give you a pie chart or a bar chart on that. And that's something you should take note of should you advance to the final.
Okay, thank you very, very much, sir.
Yeah, no problem. I'm about to any other judges with question or comment.
Yeah, no, well done, Kenny. I think good point on the use of quantitative data. I think that's one question I had. Also, just wanted to clarify to you guys. So, in your recommendation, when you say the Not Too Young to Run Act isn't working, it actually is working. So the role of the act was basically to lower the age of participation. Before now, to run for governor, you have to be 40 years. That was lowered to 35 years. For you to run for president, you have to be, I think, 45 years, and that was lowered to 40 years. So the act in itself has already achieved what it was set up to do. It was just to lower the age such that if a person is young enough to vote, they should also be eligible to be voted for, right? And if you check the respective offices for House of Assembly and governor and the rest of them, those ages have been lowered. So I think if you say that it's not been implemented, if you send this memo to someone, they might want to question what you mean by that. So just note that. Okay, go on.
Okay, sir. We never said it was not implemented or not has not been put in place. Rather, we said it was still ineffective because if we check the last election, which was the 2023 election, or even if we are to check now, we still notice that most youths that are going in for politics are still not really under that age range because there is still this stigmatization or marginalization. So I would say that is why we didn't get there. But then for proposed recommendations, we were saying that there'll be more public awareness and education to let people know. Most people still do not know. It might have still been implemented, but it is not effective in the sense that you ask most youths out there, they will still give you the data that has been there way back, even before the implementation of not too young to run policy, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks for clarifying that. Two other quick things, just so we can move on to the next team. I think that you also missed the opportunity to mention a current issue that's happening with Senator Natasha. I think that that's like a currently boiling issue, right? So if you want to get the policymakers' attention, I think it's quite key that you sort of like bring in fresh content. So maybe if you make it to the final, you might want to start with a slide of her picture and the issues going on, and then use that to build up on the things, because that's a clear picture of how patriarchy is, impeding a woman's development and growth in the political space, right? So that's something for you to note. And then the last point, just to know, who are you addressing this policy memo to? Because I think I'm sort of miss that. Because who has the power to implement these things? Who in your mind do you think has the power to implement this?
Okay, sir, we would be addressing it to the Minister of Women Affairs and the Minister of the Federal Youth Federation, sir.
Okay, I'll rather suggest maybe I address it to the so there's a group called IPAC, which is like all the umbrella body of all the political parties, because the Ministry of Women Affairs doesn't really have the power to influence political parties, right? The Ministry of Women Affairs really does work on women's development based on what the president gives them as their agenda. So I'll say look out for IPAC. It's called IPAC. I think it's called Inter-Party Advisory Council. It has all of the major political parties in Nigeria, 18 of them signed in onto IPAC, and IPAC has the power to influence policies that are made by these respective parties. So that's something I want to change if you make it to the final. And also, whether or not to make it to the final, if you want to push this policy memo forward, you can send this memo actually to IPAC and use social media to also push and advocate for issues. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. We sure will do that. So hopefully we'll make it to the final, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
So do you have any comments or
Comments? Just to keep it brief, I appreciate the attention to detail in the slide, in the font and in the color, stemming from the situation or the problem you were addressing. I don't know if it was intentional, but I caught it. So thank you very much. That was nice to see. The other thing I wanted to mention, I think Kenny mentioned it, but I was looking at it from a different angle, which is I did not see how your evidence and analysis directly affected your solutions. It seemed like there were no correlations. It seemed like I couldn't see a direct relationship on how the analysis from your survey actually implemented your solutions. Yeah, I think those were the two major things that stood out for me. It wasn't necessarily because it was qualitative or quantitative. It was simply because when you were presenting, you made a statement like you asked someone and this was his answer. But if you go to your recommendations, I'm not seeing any relationship between the answers or what made you infer that that's the best way to go to address the problem from your survey. So there was a disconnect there for me. So you might want to look into that moving forward. But apart from that, that's it for me. I think, like I said, I liked the attention to detail in this slide. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much. And we'll move on to the last team. I hand over to Gam.
All right, so they're not the last team, but we have Team Eco Energy. Are you on the call?
Yes, we are on the call now.
Okay, sir. Team Eco Energy Keepers, you have the floor. That is Oduola, Fulfillment, Victory, Paul, and Oshiremi. Please go ahead. 7 minutes, please, and keep to your time.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good day. We are Team Eco Energy Keepers and are going to be giving a presentation on the strategic roadmap for Nigeria's renewable energy transition. So very quickly, we'll just get right into it, starting with a summary of what we're talking about here. Nigeria is at a critical juncture regarding its energy sector and achieving sustainable development. But with the use of renewable energy sources, particularly solar energy, wind energy, and hydropower energy, we've stand the chance of diversifying our energy sector, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and bringing electricity access to millions of Nigerians who are currently underserved. So, as with that, we'll just go into the main detail of the presentation. First of all, talking about access to electricity. There isn't much access to electricity in the country. For example, we have that over 60% of Nigerians lack access to reliable electricity supply, consistent electricity. And that is because for the sources of electricity, especially gas and oil, fossil fuels are not the best when it comes to being reliable. And then we have other sources, alternative sources, the renewable sources, which can help bring electricity. For example, solar energy, we have an estimate of 5.5 kilowatt hours per square meter every day we get of solar radiation. For wind, we have the potential to generate up to 11,000 megawatts of electricity from wind alone. And then hydropower, we have the potential to generate up to 14,000 megawatts. Now, in 2023, a report was done by the International Renewable Energy Agency, and it showed that up to 60% of Nigeria's energy needs can be satisfied by renewable energy by as soon as 2050. And then it also showed that renewable energy can reduce our dependence on oil and gas for electricity generation by up to 40%, which will, of course, reduce our carbon footprint, our carbon emissions. It also gave a figure for that can reduce by up to 65%. So which shows that really the use of renewable energy is something that is very, very important in Nigeria, both for generation of electricity and for reducing our carbon emissions, reducing climate change, the effect of climate change in the country. So now let's get into how exactly the strategies we are supposed to use to get this really into our sector. Firstly, we're going to be talking about a comprehensive renewable energy policy. We should have the government, of course, this policy memo is directed to the Minister of Power and Renewable Energy in the person of Honorable Minister Adelabu. So, firstly, developing a comprehensive and renewable energy policy, a policy that is clear, feasible, but still ambitious. And then next, of course, we talk about introducing financial incentives such as tax holidays, tax breaks to investors who will be coming into this particular sector, and of course, giving of grants and subsidies to companies and to institutes that are involved in research and development into renewable energy sources. And then next, we have talked about enhancing infrastructure and grid modernization. This is something that will be very important, being able to bring the power generating plants which use renewable energy into the national grid, make them be interwoven with the current system as it is today. And of course, talk about fostering public-private partnerships. While yes, the public sector will be there, the private sector will be there, they're always there, but they need to work together, they need to collaborate, to be in partnership so as to make our electricity generation with the use of renewable energy to be truly wonderful. And the next talk about capacity building and awareness creation, making people aware of the importance of renewable energy. And for part of capacity building, we're talking about give training programs and the like, which can help people increase people's expertise as regards renewable energy. And then, of course, international collaboration with countries which are more attuned to these things, and this will, of course, help us a lot. So that's that for the strategy recommendations. I'll be handing over to my teammate Victory to talk on the regulatory reform agenda. Take it away, Victory.
Good day, everyone. We are also emphasizing on the need for regulatory reforms to support the growth for renewable energy in Nigeria. This aspect of our policy memo focuses on creating a more favorable environment for renewable energy development by streamlining the process, establishing clear regulations, and providing incentives for investments. We can unlock the full potential of Nigeria's renewable energy resources. Our proposal for regulatory reform is designed to address the existing challenges and barriers that hinder the development of renewable energy in Nigeria. We believe that the right regulatory framework in place, Nigeria can attract more investment, create jobs, and drive economic growth while reducing its reliance of fossil fuel and mitigating the impact of climate change. In addition to regulatory reforms, our policy memo also includes comprehensive cost benefit analysis of our proposed recommendations. This analysis highlights the significant economic, social, and environmental benefits of transitioning to renewable energy, including job creation, improved energy access, and reduction in greenhouse gas emission. By implementing these reforms and transitioning to renewable energy, we believe that Nigeria can achieve its sustainable development goals and become a leader in the region. We also believe that our policy memo provides a roadmap for the transition to a sustainable energy future. And we look forward to discussing our recommendation in more detail. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for the presentation. In the interest of time, I think I only have one comment before I treat the other judges. Or maybe a question. There's a part of a recommendation that you're writing a policy and recommending they should develop a policy. Develop a comprehensive policy. And I was like, are you not the one writing this policy? While I understand that the only time I can use this, at least I see that this is very recommended, is when you are referring to an existing policy. But if you are writing a policy and one of your recommendations is a policy to be developed, it speaks to, I think, like, just go within your own length of your policy and give them strategic stuff, pragmatic stuff that can be implemented. Either you refer to an already existing policy. So in this case, I would have left every other thing from 2 to the end, except the first one, because every other thing you're trying to also recommend here is like a comprehensive renewable energy policy, right? And recommending that should be developed is a bit, I don't know, I am with that, but I don't think maybe for near future, it should be advanced to the final. Just focus on what your own policy can truly solve. And if you truly want to maybe refer back to existing policy, you should do that, but not recommending policies to be developed when you're also writing a policy, sort of. I think that is it for me, and I don't even know that judges have any other comments.
Yeah, I have just a few quick things to address. First one is just, the comment I made to the previous team. There's a current issue in this energy sector around the government banning the importation of solar panels, and speaking about something about local capacity. I didn't see you guys mention that in the policy memo, especially your background and context. Does that make sense? Do you think that's anything that needs to be done about that? And if you surveyed energy companies, it would have been good to also see their thoughts on this. And then finally, there are two policy documents, and this is in line with what Kenny said. There are 2 already existing policy documents that I didn't see you guys cite. The first one is the Nigeria Renewable Energy Master Plan, which had been there for a while, and that master plan is supposed to have had us with 36% renewable energy by 2030. And then there's also I think this was done at COP26, that former President Buhari announced this. We have the Nigeria Energy Transition Plan. I will share these links in the chat. But again, these are 2 existing things. So instead of saying, let's have a new policy, because guys, we have too many policies. Like, we have a proliferation of policy, document, right? So maybe citing the aspects of these already existing plans that need implementation and giving ideas for implementation might be a faster solution, as opposed to saying we need another Nigerian renewable energy policy when we already have a master plan for renewable energy and an energy transition plan already. So these are things that you should also know, not just for this competition, but also if you write policy documents in the future, make sure you've exhausted searching for the existing policy documents in that space before you start recommending something new. Yeah, but I'll share the links in the chat for you guys.
And think we can, I don't know when there's in the absence of that, I think interest of time, we have one more team left, I believe, damn, I think the policy forge or something. Are you there? You're muted, should you be saying anything, damn? I can't see you on the call anymore. Policy forge, are you here? Team Policy Forge, are you on the call?
Yes, sir.
Great. So you guys should
Yes,
please
sir.
get
Yes, sir. Let's see. Let me be by sharing my.
We cannot hear you or see your screen, so yeah. Policy Forge. Your network seems to be bad.
Policy Forge is I'm waiting for one of my group members to please
You're waiting for your team member to share the screen. Do you know who the person is that you're waiting for?
Yes, what time? Time.
Are they on the call?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so can you please share your screen? The person that is meant to share the screen. Taiwo Awutare, I can see you on the call. Okay, I think they just shared their screen, but it looks like their phone will go very soon. Can you try stopping that your share device audio thing that is there? Is that my messy or noisy? Hello. How many are you guys in your team? So no one can.
So most of us are having technical issues. Most of us actually having technical issues. I just joined the call. I'm trying to join the call since I'm so sorry because I realized that we're meant to have started, we are meant to have presented our own polymer quite earlier, but because of technical issues, we have not been.
Your audio is muffled as well. I think it's not just this presentation. Your audio sounds muffled.
So I can see Taiwo Awutare your screen now. So you can go ahead and share.
The policy forge, and policy.
Your audio is very muffled, so I don't know where you are. So, we have. We can hear you now, but can you try? You guys have 5 minutes more, by the way. You can see your screen very well now. So
our policy is aimed towards security and national stability. And in order to do that, look keenly into internal pricing, kidnapping, and banditry, which have been able to analyze and bring out policy recommendations to tackle this problem in order to ensure stability as well as stability in the society.
Michael,
Um,
I'm sorry, Michael. Can any of your team members speak on your behalf? It's very difficult to hear you. Any other person, Taiwo, can you present it or I
Good
not
evening, sir.
Yeah, you can go ahead,
Good
Taiwo.
evening, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. So I'll be speaking on behalf of my team. So there's no time I will not be pardoning at all. My team members are Favor, myself, Taiwo, Rido, Rachel, and Michael. We are speaking on national security and national stability, kidnapping and ransom taking. Actually, Nigerian porous border Nigerian porous border has made it very prone to security challenges, among which we have kidnapping and banditry. Banditry, banditry on its core is posing a threat to the safety of citizens in house, farmlands, and highways. To start, historically, we can trace banditry and kidnapping to the historic Chibok girls kidnapping in 2014, and of recent in 2022, or Catholic church killing. These social vices are caused by illiteracy, unemployment, among other reasons. And statistically, we have 54.4% of people that of unemployment rate. So I'll be rushing to the background and context. 10 years after the Chibok girls abduction, Nigeria got to nationwide kidnapping crisis. This epidemic, has over time flown into a national questions, and it has flown overhead the initial hotspots, which are the northwestern regions. So over time in 2024, we have records of 68 at least 68 mass abductions. So in our chart here, it's gotten from data fights, and it presents Kaduna as the highest of this of experiencing this menace. So we also to get our data, we had polls out, a survey out, questionnaires, and majority of people that feel these are professors, lecturers, and undergraduates, and mostly they agree that poverty and unemployment are the causes of this menace. So I'll be moving to our policy recommendation. First, we have provision of regional paramilitaries like Amoteco and joint task force to combat this security challenge. Over time, it is recorded by Global Peace Index 2024 that Nigerian police force is ranked 127 out of 127 of the worst police force in the world. So also in my policy recommendation line, I have economic empowerment and job creation. If we have to address the problem of insecurity in terms of kidnapping and armed banditry, we should address the root causes by providing job opportunities for people and reorientating them so they can know the usefulness of, and also I'll rush to the third recommendation, which is reinforcing legal structure. Actually, we can trace this from the Terrorist Prohibition Act as amended in 2022 that criminalizes ransom payment. This can be said to be problematic due to the killing of Emir of Gobi last year due to delayed ransom payment. There should be a reinforced legal structure that allows a practical solutions to this rather than surfacing a a recommendation to this. Also, technologically, there should be an employment of unmanned aerial vehicles to survey these people, not to resort to, so that this menace will not resort to casualties of a sort. Also, I have here decentralized livestock management. This involves reorientating the Buhari's rural policy to allow voluntary adaptation of subnational state governments into the specificity of the peculiarity of the menace in their regions. So the urgent statement presents that Nigeria needs to protect the youth from vices that would enable them them become bandits, which is quite hard task. With more than half of our youth unemployed and underemployed, the honorable ministers must champion, along with other ministers mentioned, in the promotion of their both security and empowerment measures, or else the state of the nation will be regarded synonymous to anarchism. So we have a theory of change here, which includes the impact, outcomes, activities, and problem statement. I'll start from the problem statement. The problem states that there is lack of community engagement and dialogue. Also, it states that there is lack of technology to aid security in Nigeria. Also, it states that there is lack of basic civic education. Also, it states that there is lack of job opportunities. Also, it states that there is high rate of poverty and unemployment in the country. The impact states that there is reduction of the impact of kidnapping and banishing in security and national stability. Also, there is increase in the basic civic education of citizens. Also, there is improved quality of security. Also, there is reduction in the rate of unemployment from 55.4% to no more than 20%. Improved security agencies and border security. The outcomes present that there should be enhancement of collaboration and intelligence sharing among local securities and government agencies. Also, it presents that there should be an increase in the standard of living of the citizens. Also, it presents that there should be a lead up to increase in industrialization. Also, the outcome presents that there should be an implementation of policy in various states of the country. The activities, not to mention everything but few because of our time, presents that there should be an adoption and review of policy recommendation. There should be community engagement as lead up to community policing. Also, it said that government should lobby. When we mean government, we mean those are the forefront of policy implementation. They should lobby with other countries to share and develop technology to promote security. This is our presentation, and I would like to round up because of our time, and questions will be welcomed. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. In terms of time, I just have one question, and not about what you presented, but about, did you guys have a presentation for this, or you just wanted to share your policy memo?
Actually, we do not have. We just have.
I see. So you guys don't have a presentation. Did you get the instruction that you guys had to make a presentation for the finale or semi-final rather? Or you felt like I was, and that's fine too. That was your thinking. I'm just curious. Hello. Okay, but in the interest of time, I'll just say that, like, next time when instructions are passed, try to follow it. The instruction was very clear when the semi-finalists were announced that you guys should prepare a presentation. And I think it was clear there should be like a PowerPoint presentation or something like that, but try to follow that in the near future. The only thing, even the memo we think you're sharing, we can't see it, except I'm the only one. I can see your pre-evolution soccer hat, another thing here. I can just see folder upon folders. And I think that's made to visual notes. But you were clear, at least Taiwo was clear. I could hear your voice and your pronunciation, so thumbs up on that. And yeah, best of luck with the viewers. Hopefully you guys might make it the final or not, and you can correct all of this should you make it to the final. Not sure if any other judge have any other thing to say before we move on to deliberations. Great. Dami, are you there? Because we are way above time. This is 10:30 Nigerian time. Dami, are you there?
Kenny.
Oh, Chimdi. Okay, great. About to
Going your Team Forge, we shifted the time for you guys. That's literally tell others to come and present so that you guys will prepare. Even if you have been here from the first presentation, even if you did, once you saw every other person putting up a slide, you should have gone as far as doing something. So for me, I think that's borderline embarrassing, but we'll just leave it there for now.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Thank you so much. I don't think Dami is here. Any other person from POLSSA be on the call? I think Dami didn't talk. Any other POLSSA representative on the call? Okay. Indeed. So thanks so much, thus far. I would like to say thank you for good work to our presenters. The judges will be back in about 5 to 10 minutes, so you guys can stay on the call. We're just going to a breakout session, and I think some of the POLSSA people will engage you on the details of the grand finale. And yeah, hopefully by 10:40 or before 10:45, we definitely come back with the final result and the finalists. And yeah, thank you so much. I'll assign our judges to a breakout from 9. Tora, I think you might have gotten a request to join a breakout room. Let me know if you didn't have it. Dami, it seems you are back. The judges are going to a breakout session now and a room. So I hope you can take hold of things, announce the grand finale details. I'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes. Definitely less than 10 minutes. Shimdi, I'm not sure. Do you see access to the breakout room? I just assigned you. Let me know if not. Hey, Shimdi, I want to be sure I can see you joining yet. Wait.
Okay. Should I go ahead, or is Dami or anybody else saying something?
No, I think I can go ahead. The judges are back. And
Okay, sure. Yeah, hi, Mr. Ebenezer. I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Dami. So judges are done. And we have this finally selected. Just to first of all thank everyone. This is almost 11 p.m. Nigerian time, and to also thank Kenny and Toro who are joining us from the US. This, of course, had been a labor of love. All of this is because we really want to see Nigeria better. And we're just really proud. First of all, just to say we're really proud to see all of the work you guys have put into this. For most of you, it's the first time working on the policy hackathon, even understanding what the policy document is like, right from when we had the boot camps, the conversations that we've had, the WhatsApp group engagements. I think that we've come a long way, and I hope you are proud of yourself to see how far you've been able to come in becoming a policy thinker. For those of you who are currently studying political science, we hope that you become a policy analyst, because Nigeria needs many more thinkers, people who would analyze our challenges and find solutions and advocate for those solutions. And here at Policy Shapers, we are actually committed to engaging you beyond this hackathon, just as I said a couple of days ago. We want to be able to see how we can move your ideas from ideas to campaigns and see how to push these to the relevant people that you've addressed your policy memos to. However, without further ado, this was the semi-final. And so out of the 8 teams that have presented, we have now scored you based on 3 criteria: your presentation, your clarity, and also the content of your presentation. And also juxtapose this with also the quality of your policy memo based on how well your policy memo was written and the content of that memo, which was reviewed this afternoon. And so drum rolls. Kenny, do you want to put up the deck with the 5 finalists? So it's my pleasure to announce the 5 teams that have progressed to the final of Naija Policy Hack 2025. And
are you guys ready? Let me
suspense.
know. 5, 4, 3.
5, 4, 3, 2.
And our finalists. Congratulations to you guys.
And our finalists are Team Stabilis, Team Harvest Hub, Eco Energy Keepers, Team Phoenix, and Impact Ed. 5 of you have progressed to the final, which is a physical final event we're going to hold.
Hello, Joe.
Hello. Is somebody singing?
No, somebody's angry.
Oh, is someone angry?
Hello, Joe. What is angry? Can you say?
Yes, comments and feedback will be shared with you about the process and the criteria which the judges use. And we hope that you use this feedback not just for this competition, because beyond the competition, we hope this prepares you for your final presentation, when you work on your individual projects and have to present it to a panel, to graduate. When you grow in life, in your career, and you need to present at your office place, you need to do any kind of work. If you go study for PhD like Toro and Kenny are doing, they'll tell you that they make presentations every 2-3 days because they have to present something new about their research. So you're going to need all of these skills. And I think one feedback that we got is that as part of the policy bootcamp moving forward, we'll be adding some bit of presentation skills as well to that content, such as we get you a lot more prepared in the future, in future hackathons. Like I announced to you, we're planning for West Africa Policy Hackathon in the coming years, either in 2026 or 2027. So please stay in touch with us. We like some great teams from here to represent us, and so that Nigeria can win that policy hack. We are trying not to be biased, but so that Nigeria can win that policy hack, and we showed the other West African students how cool we are. But yes, congratulations, everyone. You deserve this. Whether or not your group is on this list, you deserve this. You're a champion. Well done. And good luck to the teams that will present at the final. Over to you.
No go collect award.
Bayo, award is at the final. If your team is here, Bayo, your team can present at the final.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So
yes. My
see
team
you
is there.
on April 11th, Bayo. And all the best. I hope you put in all of the work.
Thank you,
so
man.
That you can win.
All of them gets a certificate,
sure.
right?
Over to you. Yes. All of everyone who participated is going to get a participation as a certification. Yes, and then the finalists and semi-finalists as well will also receive theirs. So over to you, Kenny or Dio to close.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Eben. And as you guys have seen, we are so excited that you all participated.
Thank you, George.
Finalists. And as Riley said, The grand finale, we will send more details. That will be in touch with everyone. But thank you so very much. Firstly, to our judges, to Toro, Shimdi, even for doing this with us. To all of you, I enjoyed reading your policy memo, and everyone does. You know, I know why there were logistics your presentation. We had fun. We do have fun, and I hope you guys learned a lot. There will be certificate of participation for everyone that participated. You know, feel free. And for those that advances, also there will be certificate for semi-finalists actually. Also those that advance. And also for the finalists to let you know wherever you know this can go onto your CV. Any organization can reach out to us and we cross-check with our database and we'll let them know if they need a verification that yeah, you truly did participated and these are the skill sets you got from it. So I will give it to Dami to close the session with a closing remark. And yeah, see you all April 11th physically, you know, at Babcock University. Bye-bye. Yeah. Dami, are you there? I think maybe that network just went up.
Data don't finish you.
Yeah. With that being said, thank you so much. Take care of yourself and cheers. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Congratulations to the finalists. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Congratulations, guys. Congratulations. Thank you, everyone.
Ẹ ṣé
Thank you,
àdúpẹ́.
Sam.
Thank you. Ẹ ṣé àdúpẹ́. Hello.